SFHS Chamber Singers, directed by Tina Harris and accompanied by Cindy Spear. We will be singing When the Earth Stands Still by MacDonald and Agnus from the Coronation Mass by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Really wonderful performance all around, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the contrast between the two pieces than maybe not specifically, but I do want to compliment you on excellent accompanying, and also on this Mozart. I love this setting, and I don't think I've seen this edition before. There's this incredible wealth of markings in here with dynamics and even explaining how best to execute the cacciaturas and all of that sort of stuff. And sometimes I get a little, I sort of had a little bit of an epiphany back there when I was listening to you. So when I approach an edition of a classic piece that has all these markings in there, I know that Mozart didn't write these in there. None of these markings are Mozart. He just write, general dynamics, and occasionally a little, maybe he would write a crescendo or diminuendo here, but certainly wouldn't write out, even the editors wouldn't write out how to sing in a appoggiatura and a cacciatura, because that was all performance practice at the time, and they all knew how to do that. They also knew how to phrase things, because it was just the way you sang songs back then. But today, music, the language of music has evolved over centuries, and every time period, you are a product of the period in which you were born and raised, and you learn and understand music based on what you hear. We all learn music listening to the radio or CDs or 8 tracks. I'm too young for 8 tracks, but you probably remember that. I vaguely remember 8 tracks and vinyl and things like that. But back then they didn't have that. So this is just, they would go to the concert hall, they'd hear these things, and you'd get used to the way that things should be phrased. And I normally bristle when I see an edition that has all those markings, because of my own biases and my own things that make me think that way. But what I was thinking while you were performing this, because you executed it so perfectly. I mean, all of the dynamic markings and all of those things that are in here, I thought, actually, this is a really good thing, because you don't know how to sing Mozart. You didn't grow up in Mozart's time. You didn't grow up listening to Mozart. So you need this. Now, I don't know whether this edition is right or not. I don't know. The guy who wrote this arrangement wasn't alive at the time of Mozart, but he probably did some scholarly work, and I think for the most part, it jives with my understanding of how Mozart would be performed and what I've learned over the years. But I was just thinking that it's such a great thing for you to have this resource, and for you to be faithful to what is on the page, because whether you know it or not, you're learning how to sing Mozart because of how you're being taught through this resource. And so when you hear Mozart another time, you'll go, and they do it a different way, and go, well, that's different. That's not how I learned it. Is that the right way to do it? I mean, I don't know if there's a right way to do Mozart or not. But just really love it. I don't have any comments about this piece other than that it sort of your performance caused me to have a bit of a personal epiphany. So thank you for that. So put that away. Good stuff. All right. But then in contrast with the first piece, so this is a new piece. This is a new piece to me. I'd never heard this before, and I didn't know the text, and I appreciate the opportunity to hear something new. And so you all know who Morton Lordson is. So I remember years ago at the ACA convention in Santa Barbara, it was a celebration of Morton Lordson. He wrote a very famous piece called the Lux Aeterna, and then around that time there was his setting of the Magnum Mysterium. And I remember I was in college as an accompanist the year that came out, and we went to the choral festival, and like 6 of the 8 choirs sang that piece because it was the biggest hit. And what they said was, in choral music, there was before Morten Lorenzson and after Morten Lorenzson. And what Morten Lorenzson did was create a new tonal language. Okay, he wasn't atonal, he wasn't creating music that didn't make sense to our ears, but he expanded the tonal language in a way much like Beethoven did. Beethoven's considered to be a transitional composer. Mozart's not a transitional composer. Mozart lived right in the middle of the classical period, although he did some interesting things. But Beethoven, and Debussy was the next one, who sort of took music from one place to the next. And in choral music, Morten Lorenzson was that. After Morten Lorenzson, who's the next big famous choral composer that you've all sung a million times? Eric Whitacre, right. Yeah. You have his picture on, everybody loves Eric Whitacre. And what Eric Whitacre did was he took the things that Morten Lorenzson opened the door for everyone to do harmonically, and then he just sort of went, oh, this is cool, and I'm just going to take this all the way to the next language. So there are composers, many composers that have just now imitated the Morten Lorenzson and the Eric Whitacre style, and this guy, Don MacDonald, who I don't know, is clearly one of them. So he's using the language of Eric Whitacre and a little bit of Morten Lorenzson. But when you started this, my thought was, what a really excellent representation of what's on the page. The text, the harmonies were absolutely in tune, the tone was blended beautifully, all of this was great. And I was just really enjoying the moment. And then when you got to Now Hold Me, I thought, what are they trying to do here? Not what are you, necessarily you as an ensemble, trying to do, but what is the purpose of this text and this section? And so I guess let me ask you this big question. At the very top of my note, I said, for this piece, what is the goal here of this text? We're not going to do a lot of technique work. We're just going to talk about the music, because I think that's kind of fun. Your technique is fantastic, so I don't need to help you with that at all. But what's the goal of this piece? What are you, if you were to sing this text as a solo and sing, if you were to, by yourself, individually as singers, without anyone around, or maybe there's somebody around, but you're the only one singing this text, you're singing your part. What is your goal here? What is this text trying to do? If you guys know this piece, you can tell me too. What's the first 2 words? What are the first 2 words? Come listen. If you're talking to somebody and you say, come listen, what are you trying to do? Well, see, now we got a couple different answers. The one I heard was invite them. I like invite. Okay, that's good. There was another word that was different than invite. Tell them. So maybe 2 at the same time. You're inviting someone to listen to you. You want to tell them a story. You want to communicate something through the text to your listener. Okay. So here we go. Come listen in the silence of the moment before the rain comes down. I mean, this is great poetry. I mean, you can just see what's happening here. And the composer sets this really well with the harmonies. Okay. There's a deep sigh in the quiet of the forest and the tall trees crown. I'm 48 years old, and I don't even think at my age I can fully understand the depth of this text. And you at 15 to 18, you have absolutely no chance whatsoever to understand what this text means. You don't, okay? But you can pretend to, because you're actors. You can pretend to understand what it means. And so find things. There's a deep sigh. You ever sighed deeply? Have you? I mean, not in an ironic way. Have you ever sighed deeply? Probably not. Maybe you have, but but something. You can sort of imagine what it might be like to just take in a moment and go, the whole weight of the world, however short your lives have been, means something at that moment. Okay, the quiet of the forest. Well, okay, now, what's the contrast in text between come and listen and now hold me? Which do you think is more impactful? Hold me, yeah. Listen is an active thing, but it doesn't involve any physical contact. But now hold me means you're bridging the gap between here to here to no. Now we're really going to get close, okay? And then he's got these accents on where you take the time to hold me. So it's not just hold me, because you've got all the time in the world. It's like, I realize you don't have a lot of time. Will you give me that time? It's not just holding me, it's making a change to your schedule so that you can hold me for a moment. That's really, really rich. It means a lot. Can you sing that now? Hold me. When you take the time to hold me, and you, one suggestion is to take a little time on take the time. You know, it's a little, maybe it's a little too obvious, but I wonder what that might do for the impact of those words. So just from now, hold me. Letter A. Letter A. Yeah. And don't worry about how you sound. I'm going to say that a lot today. Don't worry about how you sound, because you've got that already in space. You've got that in the bag. You know how to sound good. I want to feel what you mean when you say, now hold me. I felt chill when you said chill. That was fantastic. I gave you shivers. Okay, now can you give me more of an accent on when you take? You're pleading here. This is really important to you. Okay, try that. Hold me again. Okay, that meant something really strong to me. I mean, and maybe turn around and see, did you feel that too? I mean, wow, that engaged me deeply. So thanks. Now, it's marked piano, but again, it's in the piano space, so you don't have to sing piano. But when I teach choirs dynamics, when I see the dynamic mark in piano, to me, that doesn't mean soft, that means intense. So now, here's the thing. Why would you sing piano on Now Hold Me when you take the time to hold me, as opposed to now hold me, like a Brahms kind of thing, Why would you sing soft? It's more intimate, yeah. So when you sing or speak softly, what happens when I speak softly? You begin to listen to what I'm going to say, right? So this is like intense. You have to have a lot of energy balled up to make that piano happen and make it meaningful. Can you take that same intensity you just did, which is a little bit stronger in volume, I think, than is called for, and then just try and ball right up in? Yeah. Great, and you sing it again, and we will do it now, but when you sing something a second time, what does that mean? Don't say it means to crescendo or sing louder. I mean, that's how you accomplish it maybe, but when you sing a text a second time, what is someone tell me, what does that mean? Change it how? Well, I would say 9 times out of 10, you're going to raise the stakes. Because if you're having a conversation with someone and you tell them something and it's really meaningful to you, and they don't respond, what do? You say it again. But this time you say it with a little bit more intention, okay? All right, let's see. We're out of time. Oh, I could do this piece all day. Fabulous work. Good job. Thank you.